Welcome to the Chris Hatcher Show, presented by Alabama 811. I'm your host, Kevin Blackwell, and of course, each week I'm joined by Samford head football coach Chris Hatcher. The Samford Bulldogs went on the road this past Saturday to take on Southern Conference foe, the Furman Paladins, and overcame a 10-point deficit, scoring 20 unanswered points to bring home a 34-27 victory, and this week finds themselves number 13 in the FCS poll. Coach, I've heard you say it so many times that when you get down early, the most important thing to do is just keep fighting, keep clawing, keep playing. The Bulldogs did that Saturday.
No question. It really looked kind of grim for us there early on. I thought that we didn't come out with as much pep and intensity as we needed to against a really good football team in Furman, especially being on the road. We were flat. And Furman took it to us early in the game in all three phases. But fortunately for us, we did not dwell on what happened in the first quarter, and we got a little spark there offensively. Defense kind of picked up our game there and made a few plays. And, we go in at halftime and we got the lead, and who would have thought that after that miserable first quarter? But, again, great credit to our coaching staff and our players for just continuing to play the next play, which is what we preach all the time, and it worked out really good for us on Saturday.
Well, to overcome a deficit like that, particularly on the road, I mean, they had a big crowd there Saturday. Family weekend at Furman. This says a lot about the character of our team.
Well, I think our guys, are starting to learn how to win, and one of my favorite sayings is find a way, and right now we are finding a way to win games, whether it be at home or on the road, and hopefully that the success we've had will create more confidence within our young men, more belief that we can get things done. But again, the big thing with us, Kevin, is we need to be more consistent throughout the course of the week in our preparation, which will in turn allow us to be more consistent on Saturday. And that's what I've been preaching throughout the course of this season, and hopefully we can do that this week. We took a step in the right direction on Monday's practice. Hopefully we can continue that trend throughout the course of this week.
Jalen Thomas was the player of the game offensively for Samford and was named SoCon Offensive Player of the Week, scoring 3 times on 5 rushing attempts for 104 yards. Thomas scampered for touchdowns of 28, 14, and 44 yards in the game. Coach, it's not every day you see a running back average 20 yards per carry, but boy, Jalen really showed up big Saturday.
There's no question, and we thought going into the game that Furman had one of the tougher fronts to run the ball on. Nobody's been able to do it against them this season, so you got to give credit to that offensive line first of all, and then Jalen made a few guys miss and broke some open field tackles, and we got good blocking on the perimeter for some big plays, and those 3 straight touchdown runs we had, of course, that ended up being the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, they came at big times, no doubt about that. Michael Hires finishes the game 29-38 for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. 8 different receivers caught balls for Samford on Saturday, led by Chandler Smith, 11 catches for 83 yards. Coach, the offense is making big plays. I mean, a lot of our points this year, I think, have come from what we call explosive plays. And I've heard you say a number of times that you're still a little frustrated with the lack of consistency, particularly on offense. What do you hope to see offensively this coming Saturday against Wofford to kind of help us out with some of that?
Well, you're correct in that. We've relied on the big play thus far this season, and if that's the type of team that we are, as long as we score more points than our opponent does, and the goal is to score points. But we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're missing when we do have some guys open down the field. We're missing on some deep connections there that could be big plays, and then we get in rhythm, and then the next series we're out of rhythm, then we get in rhythm. We're just lack a 60 game minute focus right there with that group, and our guys are working hard at it. We're finding ourselves in way too many 3rd and long situations. I mean, we're at the bottom of the country in our 3rd down distances. I mean, we're 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 13. Hard to overcome those mistakes. And then from a coaching standpoint, got to do a better job of calling plays and putting them in a better position to succeed as well.
Samford defense continues their bend but don't break mentality, particularly in the red zone. Linebacker Nathan East tallies 10 tackles, forced 2 fumbles, 2 quarterback hurries, pass breakup, and a sack. Nathan was named National Defensive Player of the Week by Stats Perform, and also Southern Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Coach, the quarterback sack that Nathan East had, and that forced fumble late in the third quarter deep in their territory, which led to the Tranreno reception touchdown, that probably the biggest play in the game.
I would agree with you completely. You know, we had taken up a commanding lead, and but you could kind of feel the momentum swinging to Furman just because offensively we had some 3 and outs, and then we were playing the field position game, punted them deep in their territory, which Bradley Porcelato continues to do a great job with that. Unfortunately, we're relying on him way too much to go on the field and play. But then the turnover was huge in that area, and just as importantly, to come out of there with 7 points and hitting a third down conversion for a touchdown. That swing in momentum, again, that ended up being the game winner.
Yeah. I want to talk just for a minute about Seth Simmers, a name we've mentioned a few times in here. He had an outstanding game, I thought, Saturday. Was in on so many of those big tackles, really very dominant there on the defensive line. Just talk about Seth and just how effective he's been so far this season.
Well, he has been one of the best additions that we've gotten through the transfer portal since we've been here. Now, he's been here 2 years, so not to take away from the new additions, but he's been here the longest. And he's been playing extremely well, been very consistent in the 2 years he's been here. He's got a degree from Dartmouth, and just a smart guy, and he plays it with a hard edge about him, and he's just a likable guy to be around. And to be honest with you, he's a great leader on our team. Words, but also his actions, and he did have a phenomenal game.
He did that. Well, this Saturday, the Bulldogs return home to the friendly confines of Samford Stadium to host the Wofford Terriers for a 12 o'clock kickoff. Wofford comes into the game winless on the season, looking to turn their season around. Coach, Wofford has had their struggles this season, particularly on offense, but we know this team's coming in hungry, looking for a win, and that can be dangerous.
Well, every team in this league is dangerous. Every week's a new week, and it doesn't matter what you did the previous week or what you're going to do the next week. The only thing that matters is what you do this week. And, we have a history with Wofford. They're, one of our rivals in the league. They're very well coached. Their players play extremely hard, which, again, is the best compliment that I can give anybody. Their head coach, he runs their defense and does a phenomenal job. They've transitioned a little bit from the traditional option to more of a more of a 50-50 type mix, run to pass. But they play a lot of close games, and I'm sure I know they'll come in here ready to play. We better prepare well, and we better strap it up on Saturday because Southern Conference football is very tough. But I expect our guys to be ready to play.
Samford versus Wofford kicks off again at noon. The game will be televised on ESPN+, and tickets are still available at SamfordTickets.com. We hope to see you at Samford Stadium this weekend, and that will do it for this week's edition of the Coach Chris Hatcher Show, presented by Alabama 811.